Good afternoon. Magandang hapon po sa lahat ng ating viewers for this afternoon. Welcome po to the webinar of the Philippine Trade Training Center Global MSME Academy entitled Return to Work, Health Standards and Protocol. So magandang hapon po, magandang biyernes ng hapon po sa lahat ng ating viewers for this afternoon. Sabi nga nila, isang linggo na naman ang naitawid. So after the weekend, ready na ba tayo para sa Monday? So sa recent guidelines ng IATF ay ang NCR kasama na ng Central Luzon, Davao City, Cagayan Valley, Calabarzon, Pangasinan, and Albay ay na-downgrade na from the Enhanced Community Quarantine to General Community Quarantine. And the rest of the country is under the Modified General Community Quarantine starting June 1. So ibig sabihin po nito, ang ilan sa atin kung hindi man karamihan ay magbubukas na muli ng ating mga negosyo or babalik na sa kanilang mga trabaho. Ang tanong nga ni Mars Corina, handa na ba kayo? So, ano nga ba ang mga health standards and protocols na dapat nating gawin at sundin para maiwasan ng mahawa at mas madagdagan pa ang kaso ng COVID-19 sa ating bansa paglabas natin sa outside world? Yan ang katanungan na bibigyan natin ng kasagutan ngayong hapon sa ating webinar. So, before we proceed, nais ko lang pong ipaalam sa lahat na live din po tayo sa Facebook page ng PTTC-GMEA. Ayan. Welcome po sa ating mga viewers. And we have viewers from Ilocos, Laguna, and Negosyo Center of San Marcelino, Zambales is also watching. Welcome po. And we hope na makatulong sa inyo ang seminar na ito. Wow, someone is watching from USA. Wow, we are worldwide na pala and from Aurora. Hello po, good afternoon, and we are happy po na naaabot kayo ng ating webinar kahit nasa ang sulok man kayo ng Pilipinas at mundo. Yan. So, we also have our poll question for this afternoon para malaman natin ano nga ba ang ginagawang paghahanda natin para ng ating mga manonood para sa new normal. So, our poll question, what measures are you or your organization preparing or doing for the new normal? Wearing or provisions of PPEs, availability of soaps and disinfectants, social distancing, temperature and health monitoring, work relayout, alternative work arrangements, private shuttles for employees, environment cleaning and disinfecting, hiring of safety officer, and kung meron pa kayong ibang ginagawa. Ayan, so please do answer our poll questions, and later po after the session, ipapakita po namin sa inyo ang result. Ayan. And to give you a brief overview lang po of our program, we have powerhouse panelists po for this afternoon with an equally powerhouse host/moderator. So this is with Women Empowerment in Action, and I'm so honored just sharing the same screen with them. So we have the Undersecretary of the Department of Health and the Undersecretary of the Department of Trade, which will be introduced later by our moderator. So without further ado, I would like to give you PTTC's own Iron Lady, as I often call her, Director Nelinita Dillera. Ma'am Nelly. Ayan, ma'am.
Naka-mute si Director Nelly.
Ma'am Nelly.
Okay, yes, go ahead. Okay. Good afternoon. Gia, maybe you can stop sharing na.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay po, magandang hapon po. Thank you very much, Gia. Thank you very much, Gia. Okay, magandang hapon. Okay, here we are. We're actually in PTTC now. The PTTC is actually the training arm of the Department of Trade and Industry, and we are reaching you live in our office in Pasay City. Thank you to everyone who are watching right now. As Gia was mentioning early on, we have viewers from as far as the USA, and we also have viewers, of course, nationwide from the different parts of the Philippines. And we would like to thank you for joining us. And I think this afternoon, will actually be very important in as much as marami na pong magbabalikan sa kanilang mga tahanan, tahanan sa kanilang mga trabaho. We're actually talking about those people returning to work sa offices po, sa mga offices, or even returning to the companies or yes, to the plants or whatever companies that working on. Considering that in Metro Manila particularly, isang weekend na lang po mag-GCQ na, NCR. Although marami pong katanungan na lang po natin dahil sabi nga, di ba, ang background ko yata, Judith, medyo nawala. Okay, alam nga natin, di ba, na GCQ na sa Monday, 2 days away. But still, there are some people who are asking questions, a number of questions. I think what's important here, siguro sa simula pa lang, gusto nating i-emphasize na ang trabaho pong pangangalaga po ng ating mga sarili or ang ating po mga mga empleyado po ay shared responsibility. The government is here, as Bea was saying, we have 2 undersecretaries who will be sharing with us information on the protocols, return to work protocols, and sharing information on this, and responsibility po natin, shared responsibility po nating lahat kung ano po yung mga gagawin. So sabi nga, marami na magbabalikan. So questions like, what are we gonna do? Doon po sa transportation, dahil alam natin mag-uunahan. What are we gonna do when we go back to our respective, offices and companies? Sa public places, restaurants kaya, although alam natin may mga restaurants pa rin pong hindi open to dine in, but service sector and a lot of others. Kanina lang din, meron po tayong natanggap ng mga information or questions like, are they already allowed to open kahit lang 50% lang po ng kanilang mga restaurants or mga hotels? Okay, these are things that I think our resource persons will be addressing today. Ladies and gentlemen, just to introduce, eto po, palagay ko may slide si Gia. Can you just share our slide, Gia? Our first resource person, kilala po ninyo siya. Masyado po siyang laman ng ating mga balita these days, particularly po sa DOH presser. I'd like to particularly thank pala my friend Amor Maclang. Thank you for helping us connect with them. They were also featured doon sa DOH presser, and this time, considering that PTTC has a different target audience, yung pong ating mga MSMEs and businessmen, kaya po natin binabalik. So we have this afternoon no less than the Undersecretary of Health Regulation Team, and she's also the spokesperson of DOH. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Maria Rosario Berhire. And another very hardworking, ito rin po, sinasabi ko rin, laman rin po siya ng media. Every Saturday, you can actually catch her sa isang show po ng DTI, but that's in another channel. Okay, and talking about the different programs of the Department of Trade and Industry. Talk about consumer protection, talk about product standards, talk about yung pong fair trade enhancement programs. Ito po siya. Ladies and gentlemen, no less, ang Undersecretary of Consumer Protection Group, Department of Trade and Industry, USEC Attorney Ruth Castelo. Okay, Gia. So I think we need to get moving, and at this point, stop sharing tayo, Gia. At this point po, tuloy-tuloy na po natin. Alam po natin, ang dami po sa ating mga kababayan nag-aabang kung ano po yung health protocols, health standards, especially for those who are already returning to their work. Ladies and gentlemen, my pleasure to introduce to you again, Dr. Rosario or Rosette Berhire. Yes, Doc, thank you very much for joining us. Thank you po.
Ang hapon po. Good afternoon, everybody. And good afternoon, first, of course, to our Director Diliera from PTTC. Maraming salamat po sa pag-imbita nyo sa amin dito sa inyong forum. And also, I'd like to recognize and say hello to my friend, USEC Ruth Castelo from DTI. So we are here now, the Department of Health, to provide you with our guidelines, our minimum health standards, and of course, our return to work policy. Kim, can we share the slide? So alam ko po, marami ang nag-aagam-agam sa maraming mga kumpanya natin at mga work sector natin kung ano po ba ang dapat nating gawin kapag tayo ay bumalik sa trabaho. Nung nagpalabas po kami ng aming guidelines for the minimum public health standards based on the Interagency Task Force resolutions, inadapt ho agad yan ng ating mga iba't ibang mga ahensya ng gobyerno, katulad na po ng DTI. So ang ipapakita ko lang ho sa inyo ay maikli lang. This is really about health perspective. And the other things would be provided to you, of course, by our Department of Trade and Industry from USEC Ruth Castello. So the outline of my presentation, just a very brief mitigation standards na meron po tayo sa DOH for COVID-19. And then I will jump in to start the interim guidelines for return to work. Next slide. So this slide would just show you the principles of our new normal. Marami po ang nagsasabi, ano ba yung new normal na yan? We need to embrace this new normal na principle, or this is our way of life. No? Ang laging natin sinasabi, we always say, our fight against COVID-19 is not over yet. Though we have loosened up our restrictions, we still need to implement the minimum health standards so that we can be assured that we are protected from this disease and we cannot further have this transmission in the community. So with the easing of quarantine restrictions, we are moving into this new normal, as we say. This means that we go about our lives na meron tayong pandemya na kasama at hindi naman natin to basta-basta mapapaalis. That's why we need to adopt general principles for our new normal. Ang principle na first natin, it is evidence-based preventive measures. Ito po yung basis ng ating new normal because these are scientifically proven to reduce the transmission of COVID-19. And we all know about all of these preventive measures na every day we keep on repeating during our pressers and during our with our communication materials. The second principle is highlighting health consciousness in every aspect of our activities of daily living. We always say that we need to be vigilant. Kailangan po we are always aware, we are always cautious because the threat is still here, hindi siya nawala. It's still here, and until we get vaccines, until we get this herd immunity that they say, kailangan po lagi tayong aware and we are conscious of our health. The third principle is about resetting and making practices more efficient. This means reconsidering, for example, work arrangements to make it easier to work from home, or implementing shifting to avoid crowding and to facilitate physical distancing in our workspaces. So ang lagi lang natin pong isa sa isip, we always need to have in our minds, no, that we are aware and that we always remember how this virus is transmitted, because this virus is transmitted through close contact, yung pong malapitan na pagkakasalamuha ng bawat tao through droplet infection. So physical distancing is very, very important. And the last principle is that we acknowledge that social behavior changes take time and do not happen overnight. And as such, there is a need to ramp up messages and utilize every channel available in communicating. So lagi ho kami paulit-ulit, we always have to reinforce these different strategies no matter how minor it is, how simple it is, na lagi ho kami araw-araw hindi nagsasawa magsabi, magugas kayo lagi ng kamay, magtakip kayo pagka kayo ay umuubo o sumisingha o bumabahing, at saka lagi dapat may physical distancing. Hindi po kami magsasawa na ipaalala yan sa lahat ng ating mga kababayan dahil iyan po yung pinaka-importante para maputol po natin ang transmission of this disease. Next, please. So if we look at this slide shows our goals for COVID. So you would notice on the first row, there is reducing COVID-19 related and non-COVID deaths. Ang pinaka-topmost priority natin is for us to prevent deaths coming from this disease. And hindi lang po dahil sa COVID, kung hindi sa non-COVID deaths. Ang lagi namin sinasabi, hindi lang po tayo dapat nakatutok sa COVID, dapat yung ibang essential services nagagawa rin po natin. So it would be that when you go back to work, especially for employers, when your employees go back to work, it is not just COVID that we are to watch out for, but we need to watch out for the other diseases as well among your employees. So this reducing COVID-19 related and non-COVID deaths, we have 5 main strategies for this, 3 strategies under prevention and the 2 strategies under management. So yung first 3 strategies po, these are the strategies that we do to prevent the cases to increase further. So the first is increasing resilience. We always emphasize on this. If you have a healthy body, if you are promoting, no, or if you are having this healthy lifestyle for yourself, kung kailangan yung ma-manage yung stress, meron ho kayong good mental health, and then you increase resilience, no, yung katawan nyo. You are not easily affected by this disease. So kung tayo po ay magiging malusog, kung tayo po ay magkakaroon ng healthy lifestyle, mas magkakaroon tayo ng panlaban sa sakit na ito. So that is our first strategy, increasing resilience so that we reduce the vulnerability of our community. The second would be stopping transmission. So how do we stop transmission? We say that it is transmitted through droplet infection, through close contact. So nandyan na ho papasok yung lagi naming paulit-ulit na sinasabi. No? You wear your mask when you go out of the house. When you go to work, you have to wear your mask. You have to practice regular hand washing. Lagi tayo na dapat po na tayo ay we need to be very rational in where we go. So hindi po porke na nagkaroon na tayo ng general community quarantine, iba't ibang antas ng community quarantine sa iba't ibang lugar sa Pilipinas, ay hindi na po ibig sabihin yan ay we are so free at wala na pong banta sa ating kalusugan. We always remember na nandyan pa rin po yung virus, hindi po siya umalis. The threat is still there. So we need to apply the general principles of community quarantine, wherein ang pinaka-major na strategy natin dyan, let's stay home kung hindi essential. So pag nakita ho natin yung guidelines natin, meron pa rin ho tayong restrictions on certain sectors of our population or age groups na hindi muna natin papayagan lumabas ng madalas dahil sila ay vulnerable. The third is reducing contact rate. So pag sinabi ho nating reducing contact rate, ibig sabihin ito yung chance na magkaroon ng pagkakaniig-niig o pagkakasama-sama ng mga tao. At with this, kapag nagsama-sama ang mga tao, nagkakaroon ng increasing contact rate. Because somehow, itong droplet infection na ipapasa-pasa sa bawat tao. So we need to reduce contact rate by doing the physical distancing that we say. And we can achieve this in two ways. First, pwede pong administrative control kung halimbawa nandun tayo sa isang kumpanya. Administrative controls would include ito pong mga work from home schedules o kaya flexible times for your employees. You don't allow employees to eat in the cafeteria anymore. They can eat in their own spaces para hindi nagsasama-sama. Alam niyo po, one of the experiences sa isang bansa, no, that's why there was this sudden increase again of their cases was because people in workplaces were eating together. And dito po nag-umpisa uli ang mga sakit na kumalat. So that is one of the things that we are trying to emphasize. These administrative controls could help your company or your workplace na para masigurado that we can ensure that transmission or the contact rate would be reduced. Also, we have engineering controls. When we say engineering controls, we are using already mga iba't ibang mga paraan na meron na hong kasamang ginagawa katulad ng paglalagay ng mga salamin o kaya ay barriers in between office tables para kung maliit lang ang opisina nyo, maaari kayo mag-employ ng engineering control para ma-prevent natin ang contact rate between and among employees. Marami pa hong mga engineering controls katulad ng mga foot baths na tinatawag natin, that is also an engineering control. Now, with regards to the management of our contacts, and of course, ine-ensure din natin na dapat walang masyadong gastos ang ating mga kababayan kapag sila ay magkakasakit. So the fourth one, and this is to shorten the duration of infectiousness. Alam naman po natin ang isang tao kapag nagkasakit siya, siya ay infectious, especially kung talagang symptomatic po siya. So kailangan matrace ho natin lahat ng contacts. How do you do that? Pag meron na hong isang tao dun sa inyong workplace na nag-show na ng symptoms of COVID-19 o di kaya isang tao na na-expose sa isang COVID-19 patient, we already need to start tracing contacts. Kahit wala pa hong test yan, we start doing that already para early na ma-isolate na ho natin ang mga pasyenteng ito, hindi na natin maisasalamuha dun sa ating mga healthy employees. Second is, of course, once you have identified your contacts, we then get to test them. Testing is through RT-PCR. May mga laboratorio na ho tayo ngayon sa buong bansa we have around 34 RT-PCR laboratories. We can also use gene expert laboratories wherein we have already 9 licensed gene expert facilities. And then pagkatapos po natin ma-trace sila, malaman kung sino sila, you need to isolate them. No? So hindi naman kailangan na meron ang isang opisina ng pang-isolation facility nila. Kung meron naman ho silang pwesto sa kanilang bahay na sariling kwarto nila at may sarili silang palikuran, they have their own toilet, and then you can advise them to do home quarantine. Pero kung wala po, we can refer them to our community isolation facilities in our local government units. The fourth is enabling teleconsult and transport. So we are promoting now telemedicine. We are promoting it so that we can minimize face-to-face interaction between the doctor and the patients para po to prevent further transmission. So the last would be enhancing quality, consistency, and affordability of care provision. Excuse me. So we treat patients. So meron ho kaming mga guidelines which are adopted from the different societies in the country, expert societies, na ito po yung ginagamit natin para i-manage po natin ang ating mga pasyente sa ospital. We also have different trials for medicines na ginagamit na ginagawa natin ngayon, katulad po ng WHO Solidarity Trial and the Avigan Trial. Nakatulong naman po natin dito ang Japanese government. Meron na ho tayong iba't ibang ospital, COVID referral hospitals, and we also have our COVID accepting hospitals. The COVID referral hospitals, sila po yung tumatanggap ng COVID cases lang, at ang COVID accepting naman, ito naman po yung tumatanggap ng non-COVID patients. Now we have the transport facilities like ambulances. Ito naman po yung ating ginagamit para makapag-transfer tayo ng mga pasyente kung sakasakaling kailangan po nilang dalhin sa higher level of facilities. Now, ito pong sa mga healthcare workers, we provide our PPEs. Meron din ho tayong benefit package galing sa PhilHealth. So kung halimbawa po, ang inyong kumpanya ay kailangan magpa-test ng kanilang mga empleyado na may mga simptomas, maaari pong mag-avail sila ng PhilHealth benefit package for testing. Ang atin pong mga empleyado, lahat po tayo na Pilipino mula nung lumabas ang Universal Healthcare Law ay miyembro ng PhilHealth. Hindi na po kailangan na magpapalista pa, basta kayo ay Pilipino, kayo po ay miyembro ng PhilHealth. Meron lang po silang isang form na kailangan fill upan nyo once you are there in the lab facility or in the hospitals. And of course, the last would be for us to retain the non-COVID pathway. Katulad po ng sabi ko sa inyo kanina, hindi po natulog ang ibang organismo. Sabi po ng eksperto namin yan, hindi porke may COVID tayo, natulog na yung ibang organismo na nakakapag-cause ng ibang sakit naman sa ating mga kababayan. Kaya we need to retain the non-COVID pathway. Next, please. So ito pong slide na to, katulad po ng sabi ko sa inyo kanina, we have this minimum public health standards that we are implementing. Ang sabi nga natin, we can always have this relaxation of our community quarantine measures as long as minimum public health standards are there. At ano-ano po ba ito? So unang-una, yung katulad ng sinabi natin kanina, we reduce the vulnerability of the community and the individual and we increase their resilience. So kailangan makapag-promote po tayo ng physical and mental well-being. Kailangan po na makapag-suporta rin tayo dun sa mga vulnerable groups natin. Katulad ngayon, meron po tayong mga pamantayan or rules na dito po sa ating mga ginagawang GCQ, kailangan yung mga matatanda, yung mga bata below 21 years old, wag na muna natin masyadong palalabasin pa rin. Dahil they are part of the vulnerable, we still like to protect them. Second would be reducing transmission. Katulad po ng sabi ko sa inyo kanina, paulit-ulit, hand washing, wearing of mask, cup etiquette, and the others. And the third is reducing contact. Ito na po yung physical distancing. Fourth would be reducing duration of infection. This is really contact tracing, testing, and also isolation. And the last is governance and accountability, kung saan meron ho tayong mga polisiya at saka mga investments in the response that we are doing. Next, please. So that is just an introduction to this return to work guidelines. Next, please. So this one would be the hierarchy of our strategies. I have already highlighted all of this a while ago, but just to emphasize to you that the widest base in our inverted triangle for our hierarchy of strategies is still prevention. Next, please. So the engineering and administrative controls, which is embodied in our policy also, unang-una po, of course, we like to ensure that the workspace is properly disinfected, ventilated, and maintained. So alam naman po natin, we have policies on disinfection that every time that the work is done, kailangan na di-disinfect po natin. Most especially kapag ka naka-identify tayo ng suspect, probable, or confirmed case in your workplaces, you need to disinfect your areas of work. Meron ho tayong mga iba't ibang chemicals na components po ng ating disinfectants na maaari nating gamitin na nakapaloob din sa aming mga polisiya. What is ventilation? Maraming nagsasabi bawal ang aircon dahil mas nako-confine daw natin ang ating virus. So gusto ko lang hong ipaalam sa inyong lahat, hanggang ngayon po, wala pa ho tayong ebidensya na airborne po ang transmission ng virus na ito. It is still droplet infection through direct contact. So meaning, if you are in a space or a room na air conditioned, just like in any other disease, of course, mas madali kayo magkahawa-hawa because it's a closed space. Pero hindi po totoo na kapag naka-aircon kayo, ikinakalat ng aircon yung virus na ito because the virus is not airborne. So if you are in an office at kaya nyo naman na wala kayong aircon, you can open your windows. The reason will be not because it is airborne, but because you would want na hindi kayo confined at close so that mas nakakasiguro po kayo na ang transmission ay hindi mangyayari doon sa inyong kwarto. Provide proper visual reminders. Marami na hong gumagawang mga kumpanya ukol dito. One best example, if you may see the Shoemart group, gumawa po sila ng sa bawat area nila, meron ho sila mga visual reminders of what people should do. Even the walkways, which should be unidirectional na dapat hindi nagkakasalubong ang mga tao, ay meron din po silang mga visual reminders. And of course, reminding our employees na kailangan lagi magugas ng kamay, wear your mask, and also the other preventive measures. And of course, you adopt and implement alternative working arrangements. Ito na po yung sinasabi nating administrative controls, kung saan pwede tayo work from home, pwedeng flexible time, pwede rin naman po na nagkakaroon tayo ng 3 times a week work for the others 2 times a week para hindi po masyado masikip ang ating mga kumpanya. And the last would be social support. This is very important. Marami po mga empleyado, we have this dilemma of presentism, no? As opposed to absentism, meron ho tayo yung presentism. Ito po yung gustong-gusto magtrabaho ng ating mga empleyado kasi ayaw po nilang mamimiss ang work kasi mawawalan sila ng sweldo. So sana po the policies would be adaptive, the policies would be catering and very supportive to our employees na dapat meron po tayo mga paid sick leaves at this time of the pandemic, even though kahit po yung mga naka-quarantine, dapat po nababayaran po natin ang kanilang mga panahon na sila po ay naka-quarantine. There is medical coverage and of course there is pay allowance. Next please. So, ang atin pong mga preventive measures, kasama po yung ginagawa natin for health also. Number 1 na po, ang daily symptomatic monitoring. So, what is daily symptomatic monitoring? We just don't screen our employees when they go back to work. You need to do that every day. Kailangan po, immediately, na-identify natin sa loob ng ating kumpanya sino po ba yung may mga simptomas at tanggalin na sila agad dun sa mga kasama nila para hindi na sila lalo pang makapanghawa. So this is symptomatic monitoring every day. So nakikita po natin yung mga naglalagay na mga may hawak sila na handgun thermometers. They check for the temperature of our employees so that they will know if the employee has fever. Kaya lang, ang problema, hindi lang naman po lagnat ang usually na ma-manifest ng ganitong sakit. Maaring sore throat, maaring may sipon, maaring may ubo, maaring masakit lang ang katawan, masakit lang ang ulo, minsan sila ay positibo. So kailangan napaka-susi, no? We have to do symptomatic monitoring very carefully. So aside from doing the daily temperature, we need to have this history taking. Ibig sabihin, mas madali po siguro talaga nag-fill up ng form, no? Filling out of these forms by employees na may checklist lang, i-check lang po nila kung ano yung mga nararamdaman nila for today. And aside from that, you need to have a safety officer. The safety officer will go around the different units of your work, space or work area para po ma-identify lang na nagpapatupad mismo at sumusunod sa mga pamantayan ng prevention ng ating mga empleyado. At pangalawa, nakikita agad kung sino ang may sakit at dapat matanggal or ma-isolate at para magamot agad at hindi na rin makapanghawa sa mga nakakarami. Okay? And then of course, the referral network. Once you find na meron kang symptomatic na mga empleyado, meron na po ba kayong kausap na clinic o di kaya ay ospital na pagpupuntahan ng mga empleyadong to? So ito pong mga empleyadong to kailangang dalin at matest para po malaman natin kung sila ay positibo o negatibo at kailangan po nilang mag-quarantine. And you need a referral network for that. Marami na ho tayong bukas ngayon ng mga monitoring, temporary treatment and monitoring facilities or the ligtas COVID centers ng LGU na maaring gamitin, no, para po magkapag-isolate ng ating mga kababayan. So you can coordinate with your local government units as well as coordinate with laboratory facilities and hospitals. And of course, we have to enforce the new normal. So ito na po yung mga new normal na mga sinasabi natin paulit-ulit, but it has to be done inside your workplaces. Next, please. Now, how do we do screening? So marami ho ang nagtatanong, marami ho ang nagsasabi, natatakot sila na pumasok uli sa trabaho. Natatakot ang employers din na magpapasok sa trabaho kasi hindi sila sigurado sino ba ang may sakit at wala. So marami rin ho ang nagsasabi, a lot of people are saying, we need to test everybody like it's mass testing for all employees so that we are all sure that nobody is infected. So let me just tell all of you. First, there is no perfect laboratory procedure for COVID-19. So kahit na po sabihin namin na gold standard natin ng RT-PCR, the RT-PCR is not 100% perfect. It sometimes may miss still a positive individual, especially if the individual does not have symptoms. Pag tinignan natin yung ibang mga test na ginagamit, like rapid antibody test, it is also not ideal. Unang-una, rapid antibody test is used not to screen people who has COVID. Kaya po tinawag na antibody test. Kasi ang nakikita po natin sa rapid antibody test ay yun pong mga antibodies o yung mga panlaban natin sa sakit. Hindi po sasabihin ng rapid antibody test sa inyo na kayo ay may COVID o kayo ay walang COVID. Ang sasabihin niya po sa inyo, kayo ay nagkaroon ng antibody para sa COVID kung ito man ay early infection or late infection, the IgM and the IgG. Now, RT-PCR will tell you, it is a means for us to detect really if virus is there. Kung may COVID ka o wala, ang RT-PCR ang magsasabi sa inyo niyan. Pero sinasabi pa rin ho ng ating experts, it is not advisable to have mass testing of all your employees. So what are we going to do? We do symptomatic screening. Yung screening po, ang ibig sabihin, kapag ka pumasok ang ating mga empleyado, first day na magre-resume ang trabaho, kailangan ma-screen natin sila lahat. At ano ang gagamitin natin? We screen for symptoms. When we screen for symptoms, we screen for their symptoms on that day of resumption of work, on that day that you are screening. Lahat ng may symptoms during that time that you screen, tatanggalin nyo na po sila dun sa pool nyo, i-isolate na natin, and we will manage them already. We will have them tested. Also, all of those employees who has had symptoms 14 days prior to the screening, you will also need to isolate them and also test them. Not unless they will show you a certificate of quarantine na nakapag-quarantine na pala sila in the past 14 days or a certificate of test result from RT-PCR that they are negative. So in this table, you'd find what we are saying for the symptomatic screening. So for example, you have patients or employees which went to work, no? And then you screen them, and then you ask for the history. 14 days prior to resumption of work or 14 days prior to that day of screening, wala silang simptomas o kahit meron silang simptomas, ang importante, dun sa araw na nag-screen, symptomatic siya. hindi mo na siya papayagan magtrabaho. Meron hong mga empleyado rin na pupunta sa inyo, walang simptomas nung araw na bumabalik siya para magtrabaho, pero nagkaroon siya ng simptomas for the past 14 days. You need to interview them further. Kung meron ngang quarantine certificate, and then you may be able to let them go back to work as long as they have RT-PCR test results. If none, ipapatest niyo po sila at sila po ay kailangan i-isolate. And then the last one would be walang simptomas past 14 days and wala ring simptomas during that day of screening, and then they may be able to return to work. So again, let me emphasize, you don't need to screen all of your employees. You do symptomatic screening. Those who have symptoms during that time of screening, you need to test them and isolate them. Those who have had symptoms for the past 14 days, in the past 14 days, prior to that screening, you test them and then you isolate them also. Next, please. So ito lang po, I just like to show you this slide. This is our expanded testing guidelines. And these guidelines would show you the different subgroups of individuals that we prioritize for testing. Subgroup A would be those who have severe and critical cases or symptoms. Subgroup B would be our vulnerable population. They are the elderlies, those with pre-existing conditions, at saka po yung mga buntis natin, and of course, our frontliners. This is our subgroup B. Our subgroup C would be those individuals who are exhibiting mild symptoms. So, meron hong kaibahan. Kapag mild, inuubo lang, o kaya may lagnat lang, o kaya sinipon lang, o kaya masakit po ang lalamunan, pero na-expose sila. Sila po yung subgroup C natin. Okay? Ang subgroup D natin, wala po sila kahit anong simptomas, pero na-expose sila sa isang suspect, probable, or confirmed case of COVID-19. So pag tinignan ho natin itong table natin na meron dito, makikita ho natin, we consider high priority subgroups A, B, and C. We consider medium priority those without symptoms but with no exposure. Those with symptoms but with no exposure. So ngayon ho, lahat ho ng tao na mag-show ng symptom, because we are erring on the side of caution, we need to test them already. And of course, our low priority are the subgroups D without symptoms but with exposure. But let me tell you, hindi naman po porke sinabi na low priority ay hindi na po sila gagawa ng paraan. We also isolate these persons, and if ever they become symptomatic while being isolated, we test them also. Next, please. So ito lang po yung sa rapid antibody test. As I've said, ito po ay not really appropriate and recommended for screening our employees. Ito po ay ginagawa lang ng lisensyadong medical doctor. Kailangan lisensyadong medical doctor din ang mag-i-interpret nito. Lahat po ng gagawa ng rapid antibody test, if ever this will be done in your company, should wear PPEs. Nandun pa rin po yung danger of being infected kasi malapitan pa rin po ang patient at saka yung kumukuha ng prick doon sa kanyang finger kapag ginawa ito. Dapat po na i-report din sa DOH ang mga resulta ng rapid antibody test. Next, please. So just to emphasize to all of you, in the IATF resolution that was issued about 2 weeks ago, sinabi po mismo sa resolution na yan, nakalagay sa isang provision, nakalagay po na in no case shall testing be a requirement for returning to work employees. So, ibig sabihin po, hindi kinakailangan na meron kang test para pabalikin ka sa trabaho. Katulad po ng aming nire-recommenda, we do symptomatic screening among our employees. So, meron din hong guidelines na pinalabas ang Department of Trade and Industry and Department of Labor and Employment kung saan sinasabi po nila ang testing of workers should be in accordance with the protocols of DOH. Next, please. So ito lang po, no? Because a lot of people are asking, how can we do testing of our asymptomatic workers? When we say asymptomatic workers, those who doesn't have symptoms at all and were not exposed, but they would want to have this testing. So what we recommend is for them to do representative samples. What do we mean by this? Para pong nagsasurvey tayo o nagre-research tayo, na every week may itetest po tayo ng certain number of our employees para lang makita po natin kung gaano na po ang prevalence o yung bilang na nagkakaroon ng mga ganitong kaso, no, na maaring suspect siya ito po sa ating opisina. So we do representative samples, and of course, once we identify, for example, if you look at the table, a patient who is negative for IgM, positive for IgG, negative both for IgM and IgG, positive both for IgM and IgG, hindi po sila actively infected and they may continue working. These people, no, sila po yung mga tinest natin for rapid antibody. Ngayon, yung magkakaroon naman po ng positive for IgM but negative for IgG, kailangan po silang i-isolate at kailangan din po silang i-test ng RT-PCR. We always need to remember that the rapid antibody test is not a standalone test. So, kailangan po kung magpa-positive kayo sa IgM, sa rapid antibody test, kailangan pa rin ipa-confirm natin yan sa RT-PCR test. So kapag RT-PCR naman po ang ginamit for baseline, of course, pag positive, we need to isolate. Kapag negative, may return to work. Next, please. So in summary, I just like to give you preventive measures. No? Ang amin pa rin pong ine-emphasize are the most effective. Hence, this should be your priority. So ito pong mga controls na sinasabi natin like administrative, engineering, the minimum public health standards, kailangan po yan i-prioritize and rather than investing in testing. So imbis po na yung pera na gagamitin nyo sana para i-test nyo lahat ng empleyado nyo, magpagawa ho kayo ng mga engineering controls dyan sa inyong mga kumpanya. Magpalagay ho kayo ng mga barriers, magpalagay ho tayo ng mga footbaths, magpalagay ho tayo ng mga markers. Yan po ay mas magiging effective at mas magiging efficient po kayo kapag yan po ang ating pinag-channelan ng inyong investments. The second, kailangan lang pong gamitin ang symptom and exposure as entry points for screening. Yung screening, hindi kailangan i-test lahat. Kailangan lang po alam natin sino ang mga nagkaroon ng simptomas o sino po ang mga na-expose sa mga may sakit ng COVID-19. And the last, kung talagang meron hong kagustuhan ang mga employers na magkaroon ng testing, it has to be done rationally and you can only do a representative sample. Kung saan nagbe-baseline ho tayo, tinitignan lang ho natin a certain portion of the population of your employees who are infected para alam po natin kung ano po ang gagawin natin in the future. So that's the last of my slide. Thank you very much and over to you, Director. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much, Yusek Berhire. Napakalinaw po. Alam po natin marami sa mga katanungan ng ating kababayan ngayon na sagot na rin po ni Yusek. Ito po yung pinaka-importante, ano? Sabi nga, prevention is better than cure or treatment. Dahil, sabi po, wala pa ring vaccine. Although the President announced yesterday that sana, hopefully, we were expecting a vaccine by September. But anyway, just to emphasize, ano, malaki po yung responsibility ng ating mga employers. Just would like to share, dito po sa amin sa PTTC, ganun po, we met, ano, yung ating HR, yung management has already discussed, given these guidelines provided by DOH, DTI, and DOLE, we made use of it just also to craft our own guidelines dito sa ating opisina. Kaya nga sabi ko, malaki po yung responsibilidad po ng ating mga employers, but at the same time, yung mga employee rin po natin should also submit themselves just in case, ano, merong mga symptoms na sinasabi. Yusek, alam ko po, alis kayo by 4, but just to run quickly, ano, we have, ilan ba, ang daming questions. Isa-isahin lang po natin. Merong ilan siguro, no, para mabigyan lang kayo ng time to rest because we also try doing this, ano. Will employees with chronic respiratory problems such as asthma or those previously diagnosed with pneumonia allowed to return to work office on June 1? Okay, yun po isang tanong niya. Okay, and another one, are government offices advised to implement full workforce or minimum, a maximum of 50% only starting June 1? Okay, so papahingahin lang po natin si Yusek, pero dito po, sabi ko nga kanina, ginagawa namin sa PTTC, like for example, meron pong mga hindi pa pwedeng pumasok, ano, yung mga senior citizen natin, 60 and above, or below 21, yung pong buntis, yung pong may mga sakit rin po na na-identify rin po dito sa guidelines, hindi pa po pwedeng pumasok. So, Mula doon, we can only identify kung ilan yung maiiwan. That will be the percentage or the number of people who are already allowed to work. Doon naman po sa sinasabi po ninyong yung may mga chronic problems, I think it's also clear doon sa guidelines ng DOH, sino po yung mga pwede nang pumasok. So yun po yung katanungan mula kay Camille Joy Mangay Ayam. Thank you very much. This time, Yusek, here's a question from Catherine Manalastas. Ang tanong niya po is, eto po, are we required to open to 100% of employees? A lot of our employees are coming from red zone areas. Yusek.
Yes, ma'am. Actually, meron hong mga pamantayan or guidelines ang Interagency Task Force na nailabas na po at magkakaroon po uli siguro ng supplemental guidelines ngayong araw dahil nagmi-meeting sila. Pero ang lagi po natin ini-emphasize even from the start of this response, pag galing po ang isang tao, halimbawa, sa isang lugar, sila ay red zone or high risk area, hindi rin naman sila palalabasin not unless essential ang trabaho. So halimbawa, nagtatrabaho sila dun sa mga in-identify na mga essential work like health, food industry at yung iba pa, baka mamaya si Yusek Ruth ang makapagbigay ng iba pang sektor, no? Hindi ko kayo palalabasin if you are not a priority or if you are not part of that essential workforce. So in essence, di ka pa rin ho makakapagtrabaho kapag galing ka sa red zone.
Okay, thank you po. May mga ibang katanungan dito, siguro i-direct natin kay Yusek Ruth Castelo later. But anyway, ito po, from Remedios Ilagan, do you recommend flu vaccination?
Yes, ma'am. Actually, ang bakuna naman para sa flu ay importante rin. No? Kasama ho yan sa programa ng DOH para sa mga bata and even for senior citizens. Katulad ng sabi ko kanina, sabi po ng eksperto namin, no? Hindi po natulog yung ibang mikrobyo nung nagkaroon tayo ng COVID. So kung ano man po yung ibang essential services natin para sa mga ibang sakit, kailangan gawin pa rin po natin yan.
Okay, thank you po. Ito pa po, galing naman kay Marian Bailon. For those who already recovered from COVID-19, are they no longer vulnerable to get COVID-19?
Yan po ay nilinaw ng ating World Health Organization about 2 or 3 weeks ago. There are no immunity passports or certificates for now. So ibig sabihin po, kapag tayo ay nagkaroon ng COVID, wala pa hong ebidensya na nakakapagsabi na tayo ay hindi na magkakaroon uli. Ngunit sinasabi ng mga eksperto, for a short time, maaring magkaroon ka ng immunity. But then again, papasok po yung sinasabi that there is no immunity passport for anybody at this point.
Okay, thank you po. Ayun, may mga nagtatanong rin dito if they can get a copy of the presentation. Of course, we can share this, Yusek, right?
Yes, Director, pwede po.
Yes, this is for, it's something that the government has prepared para naman makatulong rin doon sa mga kababayan natin, particularly mga employers, no, guiding them how to help yung ating mga companies get back to this return to work protocols. Okay, this time a question, do we have an interim guideline specific for dental clinics? It would be helpful if the DOH can contextualize some guidelines or endorse existing interim guidelines to the PDA, the Philippine Dental Association. Yes, Doc.
Yes, ma'am. Actually, sa Interagency Task Force na guidelines, nakasama na po ang dental clinics, no? As part of those services which are going to open and essential. I understand na I understand na ang mga dentist ay may pag-aagam-agam kasi po sinasabi na nga talaga sa mga articles, sila yung pinaka-dangerous talaga because they really are face-to-face and really mouth wide open ang mga ating mga pasyente. So, ito pong ating mga minimum health standards should be also employed, lalong-lalo na sa mga dental clinics kasi ito po talaga yung mga high risk na mga professions ngayon.
Okay, that was from Catherine Kyra Alonday. This time naman po, a question from Saluz. Pamela Rolona, good afternoon. I just have a question regarding disposal po of PPEs. Since business are relying on LGU's garbage collection, and there is specific waste or trash that are collected and only certified collectors for hazardous and medical waste. So how do businesses get rid of PPEs and symptomatic persons' wastes?
Yes, napaka-importante ng tanong, no? Kasi napaka-importante na marunong tayo mag-dispose, especially of these PPEs because they are considered hazardous, they are considered infectious. So ang isang business naman po, hindi yan magge-generate ng ubod ng dami ng mga PPEs. Tayo po ay hindi naman tayo required ng complete PPE sa ating trabaho. Siguro the most lang, meron tayong face mask, meron tayong maybe gloves, pwedeng shield. So, yun lang ho, no? Not unless you are a medical facility. So, hindi yung ganun kadami. So, I recommend na baka mas maganda kaysa makikipagkontrata pa kayo ng mga ganitong mga firm, ay makipag-coordinate po tayo sa local government units. Because in our local government units, meron din po tayo mga facility dyan, katulad ng mga health center na nag-generate ng ganitong waste na ang local government unit din lang ang nakikipagkontrata sa isang firm or contractor na nagdi-dispose ng infectious waste.
Okay, thank you, Doc. Okay, 10 minutes to 4. Alam po namin may schedule pa kayo. We'll just run through some of the questions. This time from Raquel Ibit. If any of our employees get sick, may full coverage daw po ba sila sa SSS or PhilHealth?
PhilHealth, meron na ho tayong benefit package. Kapag ho kayo nagpa-test, meron siyang benefit package for that. Pag kayo ay maka-quarantine sa mga isolation facilities, may benefit package po. Pag kayo po ay na-ospital, and usually pag na-ospital ang isang pasyente may COVID, napakalaki ng porsyento na pulmonya ang kanyang ipinapasok, no? Dahil nga dun sa mga simptomas na yan. And meron din hong benefit package ang PhilHealth. So, lahat po ng yan i-cover ng PhilHealth but not the whole bill, no? So, kailangan din meron din ho tayo. Yung iba nakakapagbayad din ng some of the hospital bills or expenses.
Okay, ito po from Luisita Marzan. Are hospitals safer now for check-up and consultation not related to COVID-19 cases?
Dati pa naman ho, tayo na ay nagbigay utos sa lahat ng ospital na magkaroon ng non-COVID wards and non-COVID office rooms, no? Yung mga clinics po. Amin pong pinopromote ang telemedicine. Bago po kayo pumunta sa inyong doktor, kung talagang minor lang naman ang inyong nararamdaman, mas maganda na ho na sa telemedicine tayo tumawag. Ang telemedicine po, mga doktor din po yung mga yan na naandyan, at sila po ang magre-refer sa inyo kung kailangan nyo na talaga ng services ng ospital. Sa ospital, meron po tayong COVID and non-COVID area. So, ito naman po ay safe. Kailangan lang siguro talagang mag-mask pag pumunta tayo dyan.
Okay, related rin dyan yung tanong ni Zarina Jean Soruza, no? Paano daw siya magpapa-check up ng kanyang baby? So, importante rin na yun, full mask siguro, and hindi naman lahat po ng clinics siguro, doc, and hospitals are actually accommodating mga COVID-19 patients. So, maybe
Yes,
they can choose.
And
Yes po.
even the level 1 hospitals, hindi sila masyadong tumatanggap ng ganitong mga kaso.
Okay, meron siyang tanong dito, this time from Hannah Lynn Rojas. Is the employer required to have their employees tested? Okay, nasagot na po ito kanina na tanong, ano? Is it mandatory for the company to conduct daily temperature? Okay, nasagot na rin po yan sa presentation kanina. Is it true, this time from Kimon Irvin Co., is it true that the risk of acquiring COVID-19 inside the aircraft is lower because of built-in aircraft HEPA filter? Is this evidence-based, considering that the aircraft's environment is controlled and persons to go inside the building or establishment? Yes, Doc.
Wala pa hong ganong ebidensya sa ngayon, no, na merong mga confined settings like may mga HEPA filter na nagkakaroon po ng less chances of being infected. No evidence yet, but again, we go back to the principle na in a confined setting, di ba, mas kahit anong sakit, mas nagkakaroon po tayo ng chance sa magkaroon ng sakit na yan.
Okay, siguro we'll accommodate na lang mga 3 to 4 questions because we understand that USEC is also having another meeting. This time po, galing naman sa Facebook Live. Ito po, ako mahilig din po ako magpaspa. Galing kay Mahumpay Jeff Otida. What is the health protocol for the employees from massage spas wherein we can be in close contact with customers?
Sa pagkakaalam ko po, no, parang hindi pa siya kasama dun sa ating binubuksang sektor, no? Pero I don't know, maybe Yusek Ruth later can supplement my response. Kung sakasakali lang na mabuksan po ito. Siguro meron hong mga babaguhin tayo dito sa mga serbisyo ng spa na kailangan para lang po hindi masyado tayo nagkakaroon itong pagkakadikit no dito sa ating mga nagmamasahe sa atin. And of course, nandyan pa rin ho yung ating pagsusuot ng mask, yung ating mga measures, kailangan meron ho silang mga ganitong measures.
Okay. Still from Facebook, Vincent Christopher Gonzalez, thank you po sa question. Sakali pong dumami ulit ang COVID-19 positive cases dahil sa GCQ, nakahanda na po ba ang DOH sa paggamot nito or baka pwede ba tayong bumalik ulit sa ECQ?
Marami yung posibilidad yan. Hindi naman natin sinasara ang ating mga pintuan no, para sa any possibility. Kaya tayo ay naghahanda lagi. And when you look at our health system capacity, dun po sa ginagamit nating indicator na critical care utilization rate. Ibig sabihin po, yung mga ospital, yun pong ating mga ventilator, yung mga ICU, ay tayo po ay nakakagamit pa lang ng mga 38% pa lang out of the 100% na meron tayo. So kung baga, kung sakali, if and when this thing happens, makakaagapay naman po ang ating health system.
Okay, that's good to hear, Yusek. Okay, last two questions from Eli Kaagan. Since flu season is here, how may we know if the symptoms we are experiencing is just simple flu or COVID-19 na? Is there a difference between the, okay, yes po.
I'm sorry ma'am for interrupting.
Yes, go ahead po.
Ang lagi po nating tatandaan, exposure and symptoms. Yun po yung ating nasa table, di ba? So kung kayo ay may simptomas at sa tingin nyo, kayo ay may nakasalamuhan na suspetsya, probable, or confirmed case ng COVID, o di kaya galing kayo sa isang lugar na mataas ang transmission ng sakit, kayo ay magkaroon na ng high index of suspicion. Okay? Pero ang lagi namin sinasabi ngayon nga, lahat po na magkakaroon ng simptomas ngayon, no, na related sa COVID-19, to err on the side of caution. We also treat them as such para po hindi tayo nagkakaroon ng regrets after. So we have them tested, we isolate them, at obserbahan po natin sila.
Okay, final question from Eric Arevalo. We are a contractor of DPWH. Under the DO 35, it is mandatory for contractors to undergo COVID test. Can we subject our workers to COVID test even if they are not symptomatic or suspected cases since laboratories have priority patients?
Yan po yung ating sinasabi, no? Although meron ho naman kasi mga classify na mga vulnerable group of workers. And part of these workers na sinasabi nilang vulnerable, yan pong mga nasa construction, magkakasama, nagbabarracks lang. So they would want that these workers are protected and they would not transmit infection from, among themselves. So ito po, kung gagawin man, ito pong ganitong klase ng pagtetest, unang-una, hindi nyo sila kasama dun sa subgroups natin kasi wala silang exposure, wala po silang simptomas. Ngunit, ito naman po ay naisasagawa ng iba na meron po silang ginagawang as parang alternative to this, no? Pero ang akin pa rin nire-recommenda kung sakali, no, na dun sa mga employers natin, kailangan lang ho symptomatic screening and then we have them test kapag may simptomas sila. So yun pa rin ho ang rekomendasyon ng DOH. Ang gusto ko lang ipaliwanag, ma'am, one last thing, no?
Yes, sir.
For example, gusto ko lang bigyan ng example. Halimbawa po, nagpa-test tayo ngayon. Tayong lahat dito sa forum na ito. Whether it be RT-PCR or whether it be rapid antibody test. Wala tayo lahat simptomas. Kinabukasan, umuwi tayo ngayong gabi, kinabukasan, papasok tayo uli. Marami na ho tayo uling nakita ng mga tao o nakasalamuha sa pagpasok natin sa trabaho o di kayo makasama natin sa work. That's another set of exposure. Magpapatest po ba tayo ulit? So that is the rationale. It is not advisable to do this mass testing because it's a single point of exposure when you do your testing. So it is not really rational and it's not efficient because you're going to spend so much na ang makukuha mo lang naman nung certain day na yon, negative siya. Pero bukas, hindi mo na uli po sigurado kung positibo o negatibo ang iyong empleyado. So, yun lang po yung sinasabi namin. No? It's not really recommended by experts. The second, most rational is to do symptomatic screening. The third would be, pinaka-importante and should be of priority, yung preventive measures mas malaki po ang benepisyo niyan, mas malaki po ang dapat i-invest sa preventive measures rather than investing in testing among or doing mass testing among your employees.
Okay. Thank you very much sa Yusek Barhire. Malinaw po na ibigay sa inyo mga informasyon po tungkol dito sa health standards, yung protocols po, especially for those who are already going back to their work. Marami pong humingi ng ating presentation material, Yusek, ibibigay natin ito. Pero sa mga regions po and mga provinces, are there also dissemination efforts conducted by the Department of Health? Yun lang po,
Yes,
final.
we are regulars dun po sa mga ginagawa na town hall meetings ng Philippine Communications Office. And also we do our rounds of our LGUs with the ZFF, yung Zwillig Foundation. So nakakausap po natin ang mga local government units at ipinararating po natin itong mga polisiya natin.
Okay. Thank you very much, Yusek. Good afternoon po. Thank you very much for joining us.
Lahat. Thank you very much for this invite. Thank you.
Yes po. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, that's the very, very busy person po. Palagi po natin siya nakikita ngayon sa media talking about, yung updates po sa Department of Health. Ito po mga health standard, lalong protocols, lalong-lalo na magbabalikan po ang karamihan sa mga kababayan natin sa kanilang mga opisina or ganoon na rin po sa mga trabaho. Again, marami pong initiatives ng Department of Health while they're talking about, health standards and all that. Lahat po dito ay magagamit po ng mga kababayan natin considering that ang problema po natin, pinaka-issue po talaga natin ngayon is related to health. Okay, doon po naman sa mga nagtatanong kung ano ba yung mangyayari, how do we connect or how do we make use of these health standards? How do we put it, practice ba, or how do we connect it with the existing companies, the private sector, service sector ba yan siya, or manufacturing companies, or even yung mga malls natin and all that. Ngayon naman po mga kaibigan, makakasama po natin from the Department of Trade and Industry, Undersecretary for the Consumer Protection Group of the DTI, to also share us some thoughts and also yung protocols po naman doon sa magbabalik po ng mga trabaho nila simula Lunes. Ladies and gentlemen, Attorney Ruth Castelo. Good afternoon, Yusek.
Hello, good afternoon everyone. Sa lahat ng nakikinig in this webinar, good afternoon po. Director Nelly, si Yusek Vergere has already said a lot ng mga bago nating protocols, but we have the DTI-DOLE Joint Memorandum Circular. We issued a set of interim guidelines for employers and employees to follow specifically in the workplace. Iba-iba, this is the most basic na set of guidelines natin, but we have a different set of guidelines for malls. We're creating the set of guidelines for restaurants and barbershops and salons. Iba-iba po ang health protocols natin. Of course, they get more detailed and more they get stricter pagka mas maraming contact dun sa mga negosyo na mas maraming contact sa mga tao. Do I begin with the DTI-DOLE?
Yes,
or
sure.
Would the audience want to hear about malls or yung sa restaurants or maybe later? I will just share the screen on the interim guidelines in the workplace for COVID prevention. Ipapakita lang natin briefly because our audience might be tired already or baka narinig nyo na kasi kanina. But this will just be more specific. I will share the screen. Ayan. You see it now?
Yes, it's
Nelly?
it's on screen.
Sige. Okay, so we'll start. This is the new normal, return to work health protocols. This is called from the administrative order issued by the Department of Health. Kaya if people will notice, there's a lot of similarities between Yusek Vergere's presentation and this presentation, but at least everyone will hear the details that they need to hear, whether you're an employer or an employee. Ito po yung bagong guidelines na susundin natin. And then if you remember Yusek Vergere saying earlier that we have to embrace this. This is going to be our new normal. DTI and DOLE did not impose any time limit on the interim guidelines. Hindi po natin sinabi kung hanggang kailan because if the employers wish to continue this as the new normal or as a way of life, ito na po yung gagawin natin. And it's all a matter of accepting this new normal kasi ito po yung makaka-prevent sa atin from getting contaminated, whether it's COVID virus, whether it's another virus, whether it's a simple influenza. Ito po will help us a lot in protecting ourselves. So on 30 April 2020, DTI and DOLE signed the interim guidelines on workplace prevention and control of COVID-19. This was intended, of course, to assist private institutions that were allowed to operate during the MECQ. Now we're going into the general community quarantine. 75% of the workers in a corporation or in a company are already allowed to come in. So these are the minimum health protocols and standards that we can do to prevent the spread of the COVID-19 pandemic. This applies to all workplaces, employees, and workers in the private sector. In the public sector, just so all of you would know, these are also implemented and more. Like in DTI, for example, workers are only allowed maximum of 40% at any given time, except of course yung executive offices, like if we need our staff to come in every day, kailangan po wala kaming magagawa but to allow them. But of course, we will practice health protocols on this one too. The Department of Health is also issuing specific guidelines for workers, for government workers who are out on the field. Meron po tayong, especially for consumer protection, we have enforcers and monitors whose offices are out on the field because they need to do activities outside the office. So meron po kaming health protocols for them that they will also need to follow. This will be similar to the health protocols that will be complied with by our law enforcers, the police, yung mga talagang nasa labas po. Ibang set of protocols naman yon. So these are the new health protocols in the workplace. There are 4 safety, health and safety guidelines that have been instituted in the joint memorandum circular between the DOLE and the DTI. As mentioned earlier by Yusek Vergere, the first is to increase physical and mental resistance. All workers must practice these daily good habits. Number 1 is consuming nutritious and well-cooked food. You will ask, bakit po ang DSWD at ibang local government units ang mga binibigay nila na pagkain, yung mga canned goods or mga processed food na hindi natin alam kung ano yung nutritious value? This was pointed out by Secretary Nograles in a meeting of Zero Hunger, the Zero Hunger Task Force. It was raised, and so we coordinated, DSW was present, and they committed to coordinate with the Department of Agriculture para kahit paano fresh produce na yung mga maibibigay. They will just have to find a way to make sure that this does not spoil or ma-distribute agad at ma-consume agad ng mga tao. But most basic is consuming nutritious and well-cooked food. We are mostly staying at the home, so we can cook our food. Hindi na tayo bibili ng takeout or delivery. And then you will understand now bakit po maraming LGUs or local government units that impose a liquor ban. And this is because we all know that alcohol consumption reduces the body's resistance. Bumababa yung resistensya natin when we consume a lot of alcohol, kaya merong ganong liquor ban. And of course, yung distancing, physical distancing that we make, medyo na nakakalimutan natin, or when we're already under the influence or we get the buzz already, nakakalimutan na natin yun. So that explains why liquor ban was imposed by some local government units. Sleeping for at least 8 hours a day. Some people would sleep at 6 hours a day. Okay lang po as long as you get the full night's sleep, yung malalim na tulog para rin makarecover yung katawan during nighttime, and then so you will have full energy during the day. And then taking vitamins, and then finding time to exercise. Companies under the interim guidelines are enjoined to provide free medicine and vitamins to their employees. Marami naman po tayong malalaking employers na kaya na mag-provide ng mga ganitong vitamins and medicine doon sa mga empleyado natin. And we encourage them under the guidelines kung maari sana, as much as possible, that they provide this. And then they should also be able to provide referral for workers who need counseling, because in the 2 months during the ECQ, we were not allowed to go out. We were in lockdown. Baka merong mga na-stress mentally who will need counseling, or who will need a mental health provider. Yan po yung kasama doon sa obligation ng employer natin. Also part of reducing transmission of COVID-19 prior to entrance into the building or workplace. All employees must wear the mask. Ito na yung new normal natin. Some people would say this is the new fashion statement kasi ngayon, at this time, ang tinitingnan na natin yung mga walang mask or walang suot na mask, and we don't even want to go near them dahil natatakot tayo. Dati, before COVID, pag naka-mask, tinitingnan natin because it's kind of weird or we find it different or not normal, ganyan. Ngayon, ito na po yung new normal and we just have to face it. So, kanya-kanyang style na lang ng face mask as long as you are sure that you're protected when you're wearing it. And then, ito po, this is going to be kind of tedious for employers and employees both. Every day, when you go into the workplace, you will have to stop at the counter or the security guard and accomplish a daily health symptom questionnaire. You'll have to submit this document. If possible, every day kasi ito gagawin. So if possible, you will write down, aside from your symptoms, yung the general condition of your body, ilalagay mo kung sino yung mga nakasilimuha mo the night before or nung pag-uwi mo from work, kung pwede may contact numbers, and this is going to help the Department of Health in contact tracing later on pagka kinailangan nila. And then temperature should always be checked. Alcohol and hand sanitizers should always be provided by the employer upon entrance pa lang to the workplace. And then you can find the health symptom questionnaire in the DOLE website. For those with temperature above 37.5, even after 5 minutes of rest, kasi he will have to be set aside by the security guard or the health officer ng company. Set aside siya, make him stay there for maybe 5 minutes, and then i-check ulit. Pagka nag-prove na rin na pareho pa din yung kanyang temperature, meron pong ibang protocol na provided under the interim guidelines. This person will have to be set aside by the health officer or the roving marshal ng kumpanya. Kailangan naka-complete PPE rin sila, kailangan protected sila kasi baka positive nga yung tao, and then refer immediately to a Department of Health accredited health provider or hospital, or kung ano po yung kausap ng employer na hospital to attend to the staff. For reducing transmission of COVID-19, there should be isolation areas. Yun yung na-mention natin kanina, na doon nila dadalhin yung empleyado na hindi bumaba yung temperature even after 5 minutes, and then have him tested. All equipment, all vehicles na papasok sa compound ng kumpanya, the company should be able to provide this mechanism kung saan madi-disinfect yung mga sasakyan na papasok sa loob ng compound ng kumpanya. Kung mahaba yung pila doon sa pag-fill up ninyo ng form, ng pag-answer ninyo doon sa health questionnaire, the roving officer should make sure that physical distancing of 1 meter away from the next person is observed. And then disinfecting in the workplace, all workplace areas and frequently handled objects such as doorknobs, handles, yung mga any hawakan in the drawer, in the cabinets, or yung filing cabinets, including, ako po, I will personally say, including po sana the toilet flush, yung flush plunger na madalas hinahawakan in the bathroom, in the toilet, para sigurado na safe rin yun kahit na mag-flush yung mga tao na nagagamit ng banyo. This should be done once every 2 hours inside the workplace. And then, of course, the sanitation, all washrooms and toilets shall have sufficient clean water and soap. Hindi yung soap kung makikita nyo po na the soap bottle is 50% water and 50% soap, please call the attention of your employer. They should be able to provide you with real soap, hindi diluted soap. Sanitizers should also be made available to the employees. Physical distancing inside the workplace shall be done and observed with a minimum of 1 meter radius space between one person and the other. So yung tables po inside the workplace should be reconfigured by the employer to make sure that the physical distancing of 1 meter is strictly observed. As much as possible, unidirectional, yung na-mention kanina ni Yusek Berhere, even inside the workplace, kailangan po gagawin na unidirectional na yung movement ng mga tao, because pagka magkasalubong yung mga workers inside the office, it cannot be avoided. Maliliit yung 1 meter distance natin, magkakasalubong sila, and then the risk of infection is higher. No eating in communal spaces. It is best to eat in individual workplaces or in the work areas, and should always be properly disposed. But of course, there are instances when a worker inside an office does not have his own table. That happens a lot. And there are cafeterias also. Some employers would not allow their employees to eat in their workplaces. Okay lang yun yun, as long as the employer provides a cafeteria or a canteen. But in the canteen, 1 meter social distancing should still be observed. Talking during eating is not allowed. Face masks should always be worn, except when you're consuming food or drinking water or any other liquid food. So hindi po allowed yung nagkukwentuhan at yung face-to-face habang kumakain kayo, even in the cafeteria. As much as possible, protect yourselves. Kayo na din mismo, wag na kayong makipag-usap, or kung merong madaldal na nandiyan sa harap nyo, lipat na lang kayo ng table para hindi kayo sigurado na hindi kayo ma-infect. If eating in an individual work area is impossible, yung physical distancing that we mentioned earlier, medyo na-advance ko lang po, yung pagkwentuhan, hindi rin po yan, well, it's highly discouraged. Yung hindi kayo nakamask, it is always better na pareho kayong nakamask, but kung ayaw nung kaharap ninyo na magsuot ng mask, report nyo dun sa employer and make sure that you are wearing one. And then tables and chairs shall always be cleaned or disinfected before and after use. Kayo na din po para sigurado the way it is sanitized, kasi sometimes our maintenance people, nagmamadali din sila, or sa dami ng lamesa na napupunasan nila. If it is our own workplace, tayo na lang din po ang mag-disinfect to make sure na yung paano siya nilinis is according to how we want it done. Canteens and kitchens in the workplace should always be disinfected regularly. This should be done every day by the employer. We have, of course, most at-risk workers and vulnerable groups. Kanina, I heard this question, yung isang tao na merong sakit na Director Nelly, the question was, may asthma. And it was asked kung pwede na siyang pumasok on June 1st. Actually, in GCQ areas I mentioned earlier, 75% of employees are already allowed to work. Public transport will be open, so marami na pong makakapasok. But if you have comorbidities like asthma, if you have flu, or if you have hypertension or high cholesterol, or kung anong mang diabetes, or kung anong comorbidity, we suggest that you stay home. Employers will not force you to go to work as long as it's certified by a health officer that you have that comorbidity. Pwede po kayo to choose the work from home arrangement. You don't have to force yourself to go, or kung gusto nyo lang po dahil nami-miss nyo na yung mga co-workers ninyo, or nami-miss nyo na yung desk nyo sa office, stay at home na lang muna tayo because we have that comorbidity nga. And then the 60-year-old people and above, a lot of senior citizens, like my neighbors here, malalakas sila, very strong, even at 60, 65, or 70. Physically, they're okay. They can walk, they can run, they can exercise, they can do anything, and their minds are still very sharp. But of course, the physical resistance natin against the virus or against whatever virus, hindi natin masabi because of the age nga. And that's what government wants to protect. Kaya as much as possible, ang seniors po, even if you think that you are strong and that you can still run a mile, medyo pag-isipan po natin mabuti if we're going out, if we'll decide to go out and go shopping or go to work, baka pwede pong hindi na tayo ang magtrabaho if we can have someone else do it for us. Women with high-risk pregnancies, ito yung mga meron din, baka gusto nilang pumasok dahil for some reason, meron silang kailangan gawin sa opisina, but they are at a higher risk than the regular person. So ito po yung mga vulnerable people in this group that can opt for a work from home arrangement. Yung employers po ninyo, pwede silang, they are mandated by the interim guidelines to provide this for you. Kung kayo po ang may gusto at kayo ang nagpipilit despite your employer's warning or despite the interim guidelines, it's going to be your own lookout. But we discourage you from wanting to do this because it will endanger yourself. And then we have, there are situations in the workplace that there is an imminent danger. Yung merong nagkaroon bigla na ma-announce ng company na merong isang nag-positive for COVID na katabi mo lang earlier during the day or katabi mo kahapon. Meron pong magiging ganyang sitwasyon, and it is always imperative na the employer would advise the Department of Health na meron silang ganong nangyari. And then the workers in the workplace should be able to take extra precautionary measures, including yung kanilang hand washing, wearing of the mask, physical distancing. The employer should always be able to disinfect the workplace. Kailangan total disinfection po. Pauwiin lahat ng empleyado, i-disinfect yung opisina, and then make sure that before i-allow pumasok ulit or bumalik yung mga ibang, yung kanilang employees, safe na from whatever, from sanitation, disinfected na siya from the virus. And then of course, safe na rin for inhalation of whatever chemical was used to disinfect the place. And then to minimize contact tracing, we mentioned earlier yung health questionnaire that the employees will have to fill up. Ito po yung kailangan natin talaga ma-provide sa Department of Health para alam natin sakali na merong lumabas na COVID-19 positive, alam natin kung sino yung mga hahanapin natin or mga ititrace natin ng mga tao. But these are the minimum guidelines for minimizing contact tracing. Alternative work arrangements or working hour shifts, pwede din pong 4-day work week, pwede din extended hours, pwede pong mag-alternate yung mga employees ninyo. Hindi po kailangan na everyday lahat sila papasok, kung pwede naman gawin yung ibang trabaho from home. Prolonged face-to-face interaction between workers and clients are discouraged. Sinasabi po natin teleconferencing, video conferencing, like what we're doing now. Ito po, we can close a deal, we can negotiate, we can convince somebody, we can do anything as if we're face-to-face, pero nasa behind the security po of the camera. At least whatever virus anyone will have facing you, nakatago po kayo doon sa camera, hindi nyo makukuha or hindi kayo makaka-infect ng ibang tao. Masks when you're out should always be worn at all times. This is not only in the workplace. We encourage all of you to wear this or to do this at all times. Sa lahat po ng oras when you're out there, kailangan naka-mask tayo. Physical presence, kailangan po minimum 5 ngayon. Sa GCQ, allowed na po ang 10 people maximum in a group. Allowed na po siya. And then the office table should be arranged. Workstation layout should of course be reconfigured. And then sa elevator pala, I have to tell you, if the maximum capacity of the elevator is 8 people, 4 na lang po siya ngayon in 4 corners, including the elevator operator. Hindi po pwede na magkakaharap kayo. You should face the wall when you're inside the elevator. I know this will look funny or weird for most of us, pero it's for our protection. Kailangan po nakatalikod tayo sa kanila. Kahit na nag-uusap kayo, kung kailangan yung tumalikod sa kanila, that's fine. And the use of stairs inside the workplace, kailangan po, kung hanggat maaari, if there are 2 stairwells, kung pwede po, one-way siya, 1 stairwell going up, another stairwell going down. Even in corridors, 1 way going north, 1 way going south. Ganyan po yung mangyayari sa atin in the workplace. And then online, if everything can be done online, let's do everything online just to make sure that we avoid physical contact. Roving officers inside the workplace should always be present and should always do its job of making sure that we observe physical distancing and the observance of minimum health protocols, or the wearing of the mask, or the sanitation of our hands with hand sanitizers or alcohols. So employers are also encouraged to ensure that health insurance for workers are provided. Ito po yung PhilHealth. If they are still not registered with PhilHealth, kung hindi pa sila naka-fill up ng form, please ipa-fill up nyo na sila. Kailangan po yung workplace natin malinis, with complete hand sanitizers and rubbing alcohols. Kailangan po meron tayong sabon na sufficient sa toilets natin, and then the toilets are clean. When feasible, we need to be able to provide shuttle services and or decent accommodation on near-site locations for our employees. This is to avoid the risk of sharing the virus or spreading the virus. Kung kaya din naman po ng kumpanya, i-shuttle na natin yung mga empleyado natin. Even if public transport will open in GCQ, baka po pwede na i-protect din natin sila. Hindi sila masyadong ma-expose sa maraming tao or sa ibang tao. At least kung sila lang po in your shuttle service provided by the employer, alam ninyo kung sino yung kanilang makakisalamuha during that time, and then pag uwi sa bahay hanggang makabalik sa opisina. The safety officer should always be present. I mentioned that earlier. And then there should always be a call center or a hotline for employees to report kung meron makita sila or mapansin sila na COVID-19 positive among themselves. Employees shall always comply with workplace measures in place for the prevention and control of COVID-19. There is always one question: paano po if the employer implements this interim guidelines natin, and then the employee refuses to comply? Ano pong mangyayari dyan? My answer to that, as a lawyer, hindi naman po ako taga-dole, pero ako, lawyer po ako. I would think that if it is already agreed between the employer and the employee that these are the health protocols that need to be imposed and followed inside the workplace, it's going to fall under disobedience by the employee. Pag hindi siya sumunod, and then he or she can be subjected to a penalty or whatever sanction that the employer would want to impose. COVID-19 testing, employers may test workers for COVID-19. Hindi po mandated na i-test ng employers lahat ng kanilang empleyado. Only those with symptoms or showing symptoms, and only those who are suspected to carry the virus. Hindi po siya lahat ng tao. Hindi po lahat ng workers ninyo. And then the test should be done by recognized medical officers by the Department of Health. Hindi po din siya kung sino-sinong tao or kung sino-sinong makita nyo, baka may makita kayo na mas mura dito or mas mura dyan or ganyan. Hindi nyo po alam yung potency or yung effectivity ng test na yon. Kaya it's best to have the DOH accredited testing na magawa para doon sa mga empleyado nyo. Again, we will emphasize, hindi po siya mandated for all employees. Only those suspected of carrying the virus or only those with symptoms of the virus. So this is the clarification na inulit-ulit po natin because we have received a lot of questions on this. Meron pong local government units that may impose lahat ng employees ng isang kumpanya kailangan matest. Hindi po yon ang sinasabi ng IATF. The Interagency Task Force on COVID Prevention, ang sabi po, kung sino lang po yung suspected at yung may symptoms of the virus. So that is the last slide for us. I hope that this has clarified whatever questions you may have. All employers and employees are enjoined to follow the interim guidelines provided by the DTI and the Department of Labor and Employment. Maraming salamat po. Magandang hapon, Director
Thank you very
Nelly.
much. Thank you very much, Yusek Ruth Castelo. Masyado pong malinaw, masyadong substantive yung information na binigay ninyo. Pero alam ko po, tinitingnan niyan na rin yung mga questions. And actually, most of the questions that we have, ang dami nating questions, nasagot na rin doon sa presentation. Meron na po ako isang tanong siguro dito. Sinasabi po natin na ito na nga, meron tayong guidelines for the employers that, yes, of course, that will guide them to help yung mga employees nila prevent yung sickness or yung COVID-19. What if the employer do not take any initiative or walang compliance dun sa sinasabi nating guidelines? Yusek, anong magandang gawin?
Kung hindi sila susunod,
Yes, po.
it's going to be a violation of the Bayanihan to Heal as One Act. Under the law, that's Republic Act 11469, ang penalty po dyan is a minimum of 10,000 pesos to 1 million pesos and imprisonment of 2 months. So if the employer refuses to comply with the guidelines that we have provided, i-report lang po nila either sa DTI or sa DOLE and we make sure that the employer is sanctioned.
So mabigat po talaga ito. So importante, yun, wag na lang natin siyang isipin na may sanction doon sa mga kababayan natin, mga employers, Kasi importante po yung mga kababayan din natin who are working in your respective companies na mapangalagaan natin yung kanilang kalusugan. Kasi if we do not take care of our employees, we'll take care of the organizations. But anyway, alam ko naman marami pa rin natatakot ngayon. Ito po, may panghahawakan kayo. As according to Yusek Ruth, violation po pag hindi natin sinunod yung pong mga guidelines na binigay dito. Okay. Tinitingnan ko actually.
Director Nelly,
yes, Yusek, go
pwede
ahead.
ko ba idagdag?
Yes po.
Kasi po, I'm happy maraming nakikinig sa atin, but kasi mas gusto natin na mas maraming nakakaalam ng sinasabi ng government. Remember, these are guidelines provided for the protection of all of us. Hindi lang po naman yan dahil hindi natin yan nilalabas dahil gusto lang natin pahirapan sila. Hindi po. This is for our protection. Lahat po tayo magbe-benefit if we do this and if we are conscious of everything that we do when we're out. Kailangan po, sabi ko kanina, whether in the workplace or outside, anywhere outside your house, kailangan po i-practice natin talaga ito.
Oo. Sana hindi nila ito tingnan na parang another regulatory function ng government. But this is actually for the benefit of everyone. Kasi after all nga, tulad sinabi natin kanina, Yusek, pati ni Yusek Berhire, importante nga na pangalagaan natin yung ating mga kababayan. Siguro we'll just take 2 questions, Yusek, before we finally take a bow. Ito po, yung may barbers na tinatanong, yung isang tanong dito kanina, tinahanap ko lang. Kasi nakikita natin, pag pupunta tayo ngayon doon sa mga, sa mga pharmaceutical companies, yung mga drugstores pala, or even yung mga stores, meron ng, kumbaga, divider or plastic shield na talagang nakahang, between the yung kahera and yung bumibili. Minsan yung bumibili, hindi mo maiwasan, talagang dumidikit pa rin daw doon. Ano daw po ang standard doon in terms of social distancing?
1 meter away. Actually, Director Nelly, mabuti na bring up mo yan kasi even in public places, kasi naka-inspect tayo ng malls, we have gone to the mall several times to make sure that they comply with the guidelines provided by DTI before mag-GCQ sa National Capital Region especially. Makikita mo, merong mga tao na kasi merong mga health protocols or may mga roving marshals yung mga malls. Nagagalit yung mga tao pagka pinapasunod sila. So I actually make this appeal in behalf of DTI, in behalf of government, and in behalf of those employers or business establishments imposing all this. Baka po pwede sundin natin, it will also help a lot kung lahat tayo makakadisiplina at sumunod na lang tayo because this is for the protection and benefit of all of us.
Yes po.
Yung 1 meter away from, makita mo ngayon marami ng restaurants na nagpe-prepare kasi ng mag-open sila for dine-in. So may acrylic na cover sila, yung transparent acrylic. Pero kahit na may ganun, dahil may opening pa rin yon kung saan ilalabas yung whatever is going to be exchanged there, stay away pa rin. Huwag ka naman rin pa rin dumikit kahit na may covering na ganon. So 1 meter apart is the
1
rule.
meter. 1 meter apart. Okay. Ito na lang siguro. We'll take this. Although trivial, pero I think karamihan ng ating mga kababayan are using this. You mentioned about elevator kanina. May mga nakita tayo kasi in other countries, instead na pinipress siya using the finger, meron nang yung pedal. Pero dito, tinatanong nila, Yusek Ruth, galing ito kay Ruby 1, should biometrics or finger scanners in offices be prohibited for the meantime? At saka yung gathering for the Philippine National Anthem, yung mga ganong klase. Yes, Yusek.
Yung gathering sa DTI ngayon, ang flag raising ceremony natin virtual eh. 'Di ba? Naka-Zoom tayo pagka nagfa-flag raising. So it can also be done. Actually, a lot of things can be done virtually kung talagang gugustuhin natin. We can be creative in finding ways on how we can do this. Yung biometrics, kung papasok po sila, ang alam kong protocol in DTI, you sanitize it after use, and then the next person sanitizes it again before she uses it. So parang doble yung sanitation mo. Linisin mo muna or maybe swab it with alcohol, cotton with alcohol, i-disinfect mo lang. And then after you use it, disinfect mo ulit. So if I come after you, disinfect ko rin muna ulit bago ko gamitin siya.
Okay. Yusek, medyo kinakapos tayo ng oras. Siguro we'll just give you time to, share more information or not necessarily information. Call on our employers and our employees to really comply, because after all, the people working in the organization are the very important resource of any organization. Yes, Yusek.
No, thank you, Director Nelly, for this invitation. And I'm happy to be able to reach out to employers and employees both. Nadinig nyo na po yung interim guidelines natin in the workplace for prevention of COVID-19. Sundin na lang po natin to. Let's not resist it. Let's accept it as the new normal. And even outside the workplace, whether we're an employer or an employee, even outside the workplace, let's practice this as our new normal. Hindi na po tayo pwedeng bumalik sa kagaya dati na makikisiksik tayo sa isang, halimbawa sa shopping, makikisiksik ka sa sale or makikisiksik ka sa elevator dahil ayaw mong maglakad. So kahit puno na yung elevator, ipipilit mo, hindi na po siya pwedeng maging ganon ngayon. This is our new normal, and this is for the protection of everybody, especially those we love, our families and our friends. Magtulungan na lang po tayo. At saka Director Nelly, appeal ko lang kasi even in workplaces, nakita natin na kahit anong imposition ng employer, kung anong mga protocols na kailangan niyang ipatupad, na pinapatupad niya, sometimes employees or workers also tend to forget. Nakakalimutan nila siguro, baka out of excitement or dahil baka binabaliwala nila. We want to remind them na hindi po biro itong COVID-19 virus. Hindi po tayo, we cannot take this sitting down, and we cannot compromise our safety and health at yung safety and health ng family, ng mga kanya-kanyang pamilya natin. So appeal ko lang po, disiplina lang po, please, para sa kapakanan nating lahat.
Okay, thank you very much po. Maraming salamat po, Yusek Ruth, for your time, and thank you very much for all the information that you shared to us. Ito rin po ipapadala natin doon sa mga, hindi lang sa nagre-request, but everyone who joined us, and they can actually play it back doon sa ating Facebook account. We're very happy po. Umabot po tayo ng almost or more than 1,000 gustong umupo ng Zoom. but we were only able to accommodate 500. But in our Facebook Live, libo rin po yung inabot natin. Thank you also for allowing us to share this information and allowing us to get into your respective homes right now in the comfort of your homes to learn about the health protocols and the health standard in going back to work. Again, ladies and gentlemen, sinasabi nga natin, sinasabi ni Yusek Castelo kanina and ni Yusek Berhire, this is a shared responsibility. The government has laid down guidelines that you can follow, that can be your information in to be implemented in your respective companies. But there's also a responsibility on the part of the employers for you to implement this. And of course, doon naman sa ating mga empleyado, also to comply. Kasi hindi naman po ito para sa isang tao lang, hindi po ito para sa isang organization lang or government sector lang. This is for everyone. So shared responsibility. After all, ito po inuulit-ulit ko, importante po yung ating mga human resource sa ating mga companies because power, ang sabi nga, power comes from people because it's the people who give strength to any organization. With that, ladies and gentlemen, ito turn over ko na po. Pasalamatan ko po muli si Yusek Ruth Castelo ng Department of Trade and Industry and of course, Yusek Rosette Berhire of the Department of Health for joining us this afternoon in this very, very important and very relevant and timely discussion. Thank you very much po. I'm now turning this over to our host, Ms. Gia Dionado. Yes, Gia, take it away.
Thank you so much, Ma'am Nelly. And again, thank you po to our guest speakers for today, Yusek Castelo and Yusek Berhire of DOH. So, for our poll results for this afternoon, so our question was, what measures are you and your organization preparing and doing for the new normal? So let's just show our result. Yan, if you can see from the result via Zoom, ang top answer, social distancing. 93% of our viewers from Zoom are doing social distancing. And then next is availability of soap and disinfectant. 88% of our viewers, and temperature and health monitoring with 86%, and alternative work arrangements with 79% of our viewers. And we also have number 5, wearing or provisions of PPEs with 75%. And sa ating Facebook, sa mga nagsagot sa poll via Facebook, ang top answer is availability of soap and disinfectants. Ayan. Thank you po again sa lahat ng nagsagot ng poll results, and thank you po sa lahat ng nanood sa ating webinar ngayong hapon via Zoom and Facebook page. So, batiin lang po ulit natin ang ating mga viewers from all over the country and the world. We have from Tagbilaran, Bohol, Tacloban City also we have, and then Cagayan de Oro City, Antipolo City, Lucena City, Iligan City, and we also have viewers from Romania and Hong Kong. So sa ating mga kababayan sa abroad, sana po ay naging nakatulong sa inyo ang ating topic ngayong hapon. And some few announcements lang po. We will give you the certificate. We will be sending the e-certificates. Kasi po tinatanong ng ating mga viewers kung magbibigay daw pa kami ng e-certificates. Of course po, we will give e-certificates. Just please answer our client satisfaction feedback survey form. Yeah, makikita niyo po sa screen ang link and the QR code to access the online satisfaction feedback survey form. After that po, we will send you the e-certificate with the presentation materials of our guest speakers. And a gentle reminder po that our poll, our CSF, or the link for the CSF will be open until tomorrow only, May 30, 2020 at exactly 5 p.m. So at exactly 5 p.m., magko-close na po siya. Kaya please do not forget to fill out the survey form if you want to get your e-certificate. And also for information of everybody, the sending of e-certificate will start on June 1, 2020. And some announcement lang po from DOH. DOH launches new telemedicine site. So the Department of Health partners with Health Now, an initiative of Globe Capital Venture Holdings Initiative, Vigos Ventures Incorporated, and affiliates to offer telemedicine consultation from Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. except noon break, 12 noon to 1 p.m. Yan. Pwede nyo po silang tawagan, especially po dun sa mga gustong mag-validate. Kung may na-feel kayong symptoms, gusto nyo i-validate kung related ba to sa COVID or what, pwede nyo po silang tawagan. You can call them for the list of telemedicine hotlines and sites. You can check out the infographics na ipopost po namin mamaya sa aming Facebook page. Ayan. So their website, healthnow.ph. Again, healthnow.ph. And to those po who have concerns for our seminars today, if you have questions or would like to request the presentation materials, please send email to learn@pttc.gov.ph. Again, that's learn@pttc.gov.ph. So again, thank you po to everyone who watched our seminar, our webinar for today, and we hope you learned a lot. Happy Friday to everyone and enjoy your weekend.